Okay, so it's incredibly easy. And if you want to learn the full step-by-step process of modeling a Porsche 911 from scratch, I've created a brand new course that teaches you industry standard techniques with easy to use plasticity tools. You will master everything from creating precise curves to producing high quality, complex surfaces and blending seamless transitions, all broken down into simple steps. So if you're ready to use plasticity in incredible, never before seen ways, check out first link in the description for all of the details. And now let's dive into our today's video. We will start with this random reference image. Just make a screenshot and load it into plasticity or link in the description, and just put it in the middle and bring it a little bit to the background. And select that image, bring it here to the front so you always see it a little bit in the front, and make it here, activate the opacity, right? And put it to 0.3 or something. And also click on the lock so you can't select it here in the viewport, so it's just a little bit easier to work. So it's very, very simple. We will basically first start with creating this main shape, because if you just look at the disc and if you would imagine that from looking from the side, so this section here, right? So I will tilt it now 90 degrees, kind of, looks something like that, right? So this here is this middle point and this point is this outer point. So we basically just have to create one curve, and just one, because then we can also mirror that, array that around, and just create here a nice shape with the curve, and you can play around and try out different shapes for different rims. But yeah, very simple. So let's just create a line and snap it from the middle to this point somewhere. And now we have to array it 10 times. So select the curve, a radial array around the middle, and 10. Why 10? Because then we can just delete one in the middle, and then we have 1/5, and this disc is also 5 pieces the same time, right? So press OK, and actually, okay, we could do it a little bit other way around, but just delete all of those lines except, so just select them except those two, right? Because now you have 1/5 pizza slide. And now we, as I said, I just want one curve, create the shape of the rim. So go a little bit here to the side, or maybe you can go even to the right view, and press Shift S and Shift S again and again Shift S. So what does Shift S? It's subdividing the curve always. So it's always adding one more control point in the middle, right? So now what you can do is very simple, because remember, that just comes with practice, but I think every one of you who's doing 3D can imagine that. But if you look frontal on the disc, right? But you see it's because here of the shading that you have here a nice little bump kind of, and then it goes again something like that. And I guess a lot that this edge and this outer edge are on the same height. So we literally just have to adjust a few points in the middle, right? So exactly what we will do. And that's very simple. By the way, if someone, because all of you ask all the time, and just by the way, because some of you ask, this program is called Epic Pen. And yeah, so just go to the right view. And this is the middle point, right? So select this point and just select it and just drag that out. And this one as well. So just for this tutorial's sake, because principle applies exactly the same to if you would adjust it more and make it more complex. But we just have to find a nice shape of the curve, right? So it looks something like that. Maybe a tiny bit even more. And you can even add more here, because you see we have also a little bit of some transitions here, but we don't need this here in this tutorial. So this is for you when you practice after the tutorial, what you always should do. So we have something like that, and now very simple. So what we will do, let me just maybe explain. So as I said, we just have one quad piece, right? And you see it's always the same shape. So what we can do, we can take now this kind of, it's a profile, right? And we can just revolve it around. So we create this whole disc shape. And then we will just start to cut away from the surface that we will create in a second. And we will create this hole here. Then we will create another edge, which goes like that. And then I will show you some really, really quick and fast and amazing, surface modeling techniques here. And yeah, so really fun. So just select this profile curve and go here to revolve and snap to the middle point and just drag that out here on the y-axis, right? So you get this shape here. And this is also how we achieved this absolutely perfect like surface reflections, right? Because we just revolved one curve and we didn't do any crazy surface modeling stuff here. So yeah, sometimes you have to think a little bit out of the box, right? Okay, perfect. As I said, I just need 1/5 of that. So select both of those lines, press J and press C and cut into the face or into the surface. Delete this big pizza slides here and hide those curves for now. And perfect. So you see, we have this nice, super clean surface, right? Just beautiful. And now we can start, because I'm saying that all the time, because I see it still when beginner practice surface modeling and they start with something complex, they start with the details and they start, or they want to model something big, right? And then they start with a smaller piece and then they go like deeper and deeper and into all of the details. But it's always the same approach. You first start with the very big main shapes that you will not change, because look, this face we will not change anymore, right? It is already our main form, our main shape that will produce our desired results in the end. So what we will do now is, now we will just cut out what we don't need. So it will be first this guy here, this hole, right? And this will be a huge hole. And then we start to create a new edge, which we will need. This will be here in the middle. And then we will start to patch or loft it or bring things again together, right? And then at the end, so if you want, you can give it then thickness and stuff, but yeah, that's not the point. So what's important is we have to cut out first. So for that, I will use a control point curve. So don't use the spline curve, control point curve. And again, we just basically need 1/2 because it's against symmetric. So again, we can create a line and go just here through the middle and press C and cut into the surface. Just delete. So we literally just left with this little piece here. Because now Shift F, so this is my shortcut for the control point curve, you can snap here in the middle and just drag one point first out in the binormal X direction. So it has to be tangent. And just create a few points. Something like that, and 1 point here, and the last one must be here at the closest. So it's again 90 degrees angle, something like that, but just some. So the thing is, I just did a little mistake, that's why I'm showing that here, is we want the last 2 points again 90 degrees straight, right? So tangency. But if you create this point here, you see you can't. So it says closest, but you see it's a little bit of an angle. So I don't know why it's closest, because it's not the closest. So to fix that, what you can often do is just go to this point and press Shift. So you see now you have a construction line, but you still can't snap here because we just have an edge So what I do in this instance is I just go somewhere, just snap here, right? So this is where our shape ends here. And you can just take this point and adjust it afterwards. That's also fine. So you can do both ways. So if you select this point, press G for the move, and now control click to this point. And now you see, so if we bring this curve here to the front, and if we jump in here, you see now those 2 points, they are on the same height. So now that's fine. And now you can just start to adjust this shape here a little bit. And again, those 2 first points from the curve start, and the last 2 points, they have to be on the exact same like height, because otherwise it will, this curve, when we will mirror it, it will not be tangent. So very, very important. So that's basically it, because now we can take this curve, press C and cut into the surface. Beautiful. And we can hide it. And now, so we could delete it and do some other stuff, or even easier, because, okay, maybe let me explain. So the thing is, you know, we have to create now again, a curve or an edge, which will be the inside, right? Because then we have one edge and the second edge here that we just created. So we then can start to loft and patch like this connection here. So everyone who would do now and start to rebuild in that way, so don't follow me right now, it's wrong. So if you start now to create the curve, and you know, and if you delete this face, and I don't know, like who would do that, but people still do that. I see that you bring that back here, and now you start to adjust the points, and you try to figure out, because we want now a curve which goes into a little bit inside, right, with some distance, but has the same distance between those edge and curves, right? So you could spend like 2 hours and try to get it and stuff, or you just do it like super simple. All of those tips and tricks that I especially teach always in my courses is you can just select face mode and select this middle piece right after the cut. And now you can just extrude that inwards or offset. And you see, it always has the absolute perfect, beautiful distance. And now you might think, oh yeah, but now it looks like, what the fuck, completely messy and stuff. Yes, but now we kind of following always the same shape from this one, right? So this is exactly the same shape. So we can just now cut here a piece away and we will get the perfect edge here. So very simple. Again, very important, control point curve. And again, snap here to the middle and drag first on the x-axis. And now again, just create some points here. And here do the same, just snap it here and somewhere at the edge. And first of all, bring this point with G and control click to this point. So again, those two are on the same height. So again, bring just this curve a little bit to the front so you can see it better. And again, just press 1 and just adjust that shape here. Perfect. And now take this curve, C, cut into the surface, press right click, and now hide this curve, object mode, select this piece in the middle, X, delete it. And you see, we have two edges and they are always exactly the same distance. And this is exactly what we need, even though it looks a little bit weird at the moment, but we will fix that. And now comes the interesting part. Now we have to fill it. So first of all, we have to look at the reference image and we see that also, you know, when I'm saying this now, what I will tell you now, 99% of you, oh yeah, why does he tell us that? It's so logic. But common sense is not common practice. And I see it all the time that beginners don't do that. You know, you have to learn to look, to see, right? Because before you start anything to loft here, because a lot of people, I don't know, they would just start to loft here and do something like that, or do like that, and they would think, oh, it's just a chamfer, right? But it's not. So first of all, just look at the reference, because if you learn to see and if you learn to look, you will automatically learn to 3D model. Because look here, this chamfer here it is straight, and you see it is straight, so it's a chamfer, but here it slowly starts to have a curve, right? So you see, because you see it in the reflection, we have a nice little curve, and here it starts again to be straight, and here again it has a little curve, and now here it starts again to chamfer. Maybe it goes even a little bit inwards, right? So you see, like, this whole ring has like a lot of surface thing ongoing. And this is what we will do, and it's so simple. So at the top first, we see it's actually not even straight, it goes even a little bit inward, so even more interesting. So what we want to do is, so right now we will use very often some very specific command. It's bridge edge. So press F and search for bridge edge. Put it right click on, assign shortcut on Shift B. Bridge edge, you will always use it. So I will press Shift B. Just do it now because I will not explain that all the time. So Shift B, and we will first bridge those edges. So Shift B, and we need G0 because we will do all of those things manually. So press OK and do the same at the bottom. So select this edge and this edge, Shift B, bridge edge command, G0, G0. And now let's select them both and press Shift S to subdivide them. And now we can start to create the shape of the curve. I don't know. So we see it a little bit here with the reflection. It goes a tiny bit inwards. So we will do that. Select this point, press G, and just bring it a tiny bit inward, right? So here, from the right side, you see it goes a little bit inwards. And on the bottom, it's the other way around. So it goes a little bit, so here it goes inwards, and here goes the curve a little bit outwards, right? So we will do that. Again, just go to the right view and select this point and press G and just bring this now a little bit outwards. Perfect. And now, really cool trick that I will show you. Now we need a few more curves, okay? So, but also not too much. We need as little as necessary, because we have now here one curve, so which goes a little bit inside and one a little bit outside. But now, so especially when you have rounding, so fillets, we need two more curves to get the shape right. So that means we have here a curve and we have here a curve, or fillet, bevel, whatever, right? So that means we need a few more curves like those ones, and one will be here, one will be here, and one will be here. Right? Because if we will mirror it, this curve will go here. So we have two curves. Okay? The thing is, on our surface also here, man, I'm explaining everything like absolute super detailed, but I don't know. It's a beginner tutorial, right? So the thing is, we need now here, so if we look the real world example here of our rim, we need here two extra edges. So we need here an extra edge, here an extra edge, and here an extra edge, and here, right? Because right now we don't have any extra edges here. So you see, we just have one massive edge and one massive edge, so we can't bridge curve here. So what we will do, this is kind of my trick here, is that we don't have to create 5 million curves and stuff. We will just create one massive master curve here. And this curve will look something like that, like honestly. And it will do everything that we need. So maybe it doesn't make sense at all. I understand you, so stick with me, but I don't know, it's such a time saver. So just go to the front view and just start with a line and just guess a little bit. So go here and go here, and go back here, and go back here. Right, so that looks super weird, I know, but stick with me, because now we can use this curve to imprint that curve and create some extra edges. So select the curve, and again, very important command, it's called imprint. So select imprint. I have it on Shift 1 because right? So again, Shift 1, imprint, and onto that surface, okay. And you see, if just I hide this curve right now, we have now some extra edges. It doesn't look beautiful and stuff, but it doesn't it has to work, right? And we have to do the same here. So select this curve again, and again, Shift 1 or imprint command onto that outside. Okay. And now you don't need that anymore. And look what we have. We always have some beautiful edges here. So, okay, I have to be a little bit faster. So Shift B bridge edge command again, and go everywhere G0 because we will do it manually. So the same here, Shift B G0, and here Shift B bridge edge G0. Okay. Let's actually do one more, because again, if we check our reference, so we have one curve here and one curve here, right? So here and here, but we have a little bit of a rounding here and a little bit of a rounding here, but here in the middle we have a strong rounding. So let's just create one more. And in this example, just Shift A, so to create a line, and just here in the middle, just one piece, and again, Shift 1 onto that surface, and select the curve, Shift 1 onto that surface. Perfect. And here also again, Shift B, G0. Perfect. So now we did a lot of preparation. And now again, select all of those new curves and Shift S, so subdivide it once in the middle. And now just let's have a look what's happening here. So here it looks very straight, so we can just leave it as is. But here you see we start a little bit getting into a curve. So select only this point and just go to the right view and just bring it a little bit here. So it's a little bit curved. Then this one has a strong curve. So this one we can actually bring a lot outside. So just look from the 3D view if you're going into the right direction. So maybe even more. And then this one, again, we have a little bit of curvature. So select this and again, just bring this a little bit like that. And perfect. And now it looks super messy, but you will see we will get absolute perfect result. And now we can just loft that, all of those curves, and squeeze them into this edge. But before we do that, as always, so I've explained that in my free surface modeling course, so if you haven't checked that out, but I will not explain that here, but you need those curves. You have to press E in the front view and just drag them a little bit to the right and delete the curve, right? So we need an edge because again, we will mirror it over. So we need tangency, and we can only give tangency when it's an edge. Check out free surface modeling course. I explained that in like 8 hours or so. So select now this one by one, all of those edges and curves like that, like that. And now just press L, loft, and you see we have a beautiful loft, which is a little bit swiggly. And now with shift click, just press them into this edge and select that here G0. So we don't need any tangency, and do the same here with this inside guy edge. Again, select them all still with shift click, and again G0. And you see we have a very nice curve. And if we delete all of those curves with X, you see we have a pretty nice result. But sometimes, if you just go back, because just want to tell you, sometimes it's better. So you have to see what gives you a better result is, so we have those fillets. So this is those sections, right? But we have also very straight sections. So here to the top and here on the side. Sometimes it's better to break it down. So, I mean, if we just first loft those ones here and shift click with G0 and G0, you see, and this surface looks very, very nice. And let's delete all of those guys and do the same here. First of all, the straight section, so loft and shift with G0. And now press 4 to get an object mode and select them all of those sheets, and press J. Okay, it's not working, so just go with 1 by 1 or so. Okay, this is extra, that's fine. And now we can just loft those here and squeeze them again to those edges here. And you see we have, I think, an even better result. Look, it's very nice. And the same here, just select those and loft and shift and G0, G0, G1 because continuity. Okay, and now just delete this extra piece and this extra piece. And again, press 4, join everything, and that looks fine. And it looks messy, so again, select object mode and search for delete redundant topology. I have it on Control D, bam. You see, and it looks super, super nice. And we can now take this and Alt X and mirror it to the other side. Press J. And we have something like that. But we still have some things to do, because we want, of course, to give it some fillets. And first of all, also let's delete that middle piece here, because you see it also goes a little bit inwards. So we can do that just very quickly. I will not explain every detail because we did this. So select just those faces and Shift X. And now Alt click in edge mode to get again the exact same like shape of the curve. Shift D and Shift D again, because we will bring this guy a little bit inwards. So maybe even more, so something like that with the distance. And now you see we have to adjust it a little bit. So again, you can do it more precise, but just to show you how we can cheat sometimes a little bit, you can just press S and just scale that first here a little bit and also a little bit on the sides. Right click and press G and just bring that down. And you see we are kind of following the same shape. So it depends how exact you want it, but you see we are still with the exact same shape, because now we have still two of the same curves. If we loft them, you see we don't have any issues. So this is okay. And now we can delete those. And you see it looks already very beautiful, but object mode, select them all, J. The thing is now we need, of course, a few fillets, right? Because, yeah, fillets. Press 2. And on this edge, if you fillet it, you know, you can give here a chordal function, then the fillet will be everywhere the same distance. So this is amazing. So we have something like that. Beautiful, right? And now here in the middle as well, and chordal. And it works in this case, that's fine, because when I was practicing before the tutorial, it did not work with this technique. So if it's not working for you, if chordal fails, no problem. After this video, so we are still not done, watch in the link in the description. I have a tutorial how to create manual fillets with the pipe, so it's everywhere the same distance. If chordal doesn't work, watch it after this video. But here in this example, right now it works, so press OK. And now, if you select object mode again and just select it, and you go here radial array around the middle, and remember just 5, and press OK. Right click, join, and look guys, it's, so even if we go into the shading mode, like look, every surface looks absolutely beautiful. And now just let's create very quickly some details. And by the way, guys, just that you remember, I've just launched my car modeling course where we go into much more detail, into much more depth, into the possibilities of surface modeling and plasticity. And you will learn how you can model a whole car from scratch. And yeah, it's my masterpiece, so check that out. Also link in the description if you want. And here we can just create some quick details. That's if we select the circle and go here to the middle, and Shift D to duplicate this circle, and with Control click we can just snap here on our 1/5 lines. So snap it here on this edge and just SS to bring it a little, to make it a little bit smaller. And now we can just also use this circle and radial array around the middle, still with the 5 times. So we can select all of those nice circles, select them all, press C into our surface. Fine. And just delete all of those curves and delete those extra surfaces because obviously we have some holes, right? So delete this last one. And now we have to do something. So first of all, select with Alt Shift click all of those boundary loops here and Shift deduplicate and duplicate them again and go to the right view. And now bring them here a little bit as far as you want. So something like that, but you see they are not straight, right? But like logically they should be on the other side straight, right? Because there's like the disc break and the disc and caliper, and I don't know how it's called in English. So we have to straighten them up. So all of them are selected. Press S for scale and now scale them only here on the Y-axis. So scale them. And here, this value should be 0. And you see it's now straight. Maybe let's bring them a little bit here. And now just one circle by one circle, you can loft them and delete always the curves. And again, just select those curves and loft them. Perfect. Delete all of those curves. Press 4, join everything. Now again, select with Shift click all of those boundary edges and give it a nice, beautiful fillet. And if we check it out, I don't know, it looks so simple, but because we worked so nice with surface modeling, it just looks very, very cool, in my opinion, and very organic, that's always very cool. And it took 35 minutes with recording, so if you will practice that will take you 5 minutes or so, If you like that, leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss my other videos. And check out my new car surface modeling course. It's my masterpiece where I've put everything that I've ever learned into plasticity in one course. And you will learn how you can model a car from scratch, the absolute king's discipline in NURBS 3D modeling. So if you're interested, check out, link in the description. And I hope I can see you in the next one. Bye.